Hi, this is Karen Rowland, founder of Hush Providence. Welcome to my new weekly Wellbeing podcast, Real People, Real Conversations, Real Life. We'll be talking about all things relating to the human experience. What makes up a life? What creates joy and happiness? What makes humans the same or different? How do we care for ourselves and each other? We'll even try to answer the 5 W's of well-being: who, what, when, where, and why, and how this all fits together. A little ambitious? Maybe, but join us as we connect with local topic experts, peers, mentors, and healers. Welcome to Hush Providence, a well-being podcast. I'm excited today to welcome Deb Honor. She has a new role as the Director of Strategic Accounts at BANKW Staffing. She's a Cantor at Most Precious Blood Parish in Dover, Mass. She's been there over 20 years. Leadership Rhode Island graduate in October of 2022, a board member at Amenity Aid, and team captain of the Boston Marathon Jimmy Fund Walk. And she's done that for 5 years. Welcome, Deb.
Welcome. Thanks so much, Karen. So good to see you.
So let's start with your new role at BANKW Staffing. If you could tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I am the Director of Strategic Accounts. I am absolutely loving it. Today marks the end of 5 weeks. At BANKW Staffing, we staff in administration and HR, we staff in IT, finance, legal, as well as sales. My role as a Director of Strategic Accounts is I go out and build all the relationships with the CEOs, the presidents, the HR departments, the facilities managers, the finance departments, and then I build those relationships and bring their recruits over to the recruiting staff. So I work really close with the recruiting team at BANKW Staffing.
That's awesome. So let's start with a couple of quotes. The business of business is relationships. The business of life is human connection. That's by author Robin Sharma. And then connection is why we're here. It is what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. That's Brene Brown, one of my favorites. I will always quote Brene Brown whenever I can.
I love that one too.
The importance of the human connection, being seen and valued, that sense of belonging, that's your superpower, is the master of connection. And it sounds like the new role that you have is perfect for you. But from an overall well-being point of view, let's talk about the social and business connections. If we could for a minute, it lowers anxiety and depression, regulates emotions, leads to higher self-esteem and empathy, and improves our overall immune system. How and when did you perfect this and realize how important it is?
It's a great question. I think I was telling you right before this meeting. I was a pretty good connector when I took the role at American Heart in Rhode Island. That was one of my first jobs in the state of Rhode Island. And what brought me to that next level is I was going to stay in fundraising before I took the role at the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce. However, I did not get the job. It was a fundraising position in Boston for a walk, and it came down to 2 candidates. And I was so confident that I got this job, Karen, when the woman called me the next day to tell me that I didn't get the job. I hung up the phone, I took a pause, and I called her back. And I was like, for my own personal growth, can I just ask you why I didn't get the job? And she's like, Deb, I was like, you were the best interview I had ever had. She's like, and you were the best interview that we ever interviewed. I'm like, okay, so how did I not get the job? She's like, your LinkedIn is terrible. She's like, you have less than 500 connections. You don't have any endorsements. You don't have your academic achievements aren't up to date. So Karen, that was the day that I started my LinkedIn perfection. I have worked on it every day since. It's been about 6 years now. There's not a single day that passes that I don't add a connection, that I don't try to connect somebody. I'm constantly connecting people to people. It's what I love to do anyways, but it really was a game changer for me to know that how important that just even that one piece in my career, I didn't get a job because of LinkedIn. Who knew?
That is amazing. And now a shout out to our sponsor, the Good Seed Market, 138 Central Avenue, Seekonk, Massachusetts. Started in 1989 by 3 friends with a goal of creating a neighborhood market offering simple, natural, organic products for a healthy lifestyle. Now a member of the Independent Natural Foods Retailer Association, our friends at the Good Seed are offering our listeners a 10% discount on their first purchase just by mentioning Hush Providence. The Good Seed Market, a place where ideas can grow. And the transition back to work and in-person work, I mean, you've got all these connections now. What are you seeing out there? Are people doing hybrid? What are you seeing out as flexibility is more important than ever?
You know, what's so funny is people are really in their job searches, they are looking for either fully remote or hybrid. Most people do not want to be back in the office 5 days a week. Even here at BANKW Staffing, we're predominantly remote, but we do have 6 offices across New England. So like Tuesday, for an example, I'm heading out to Springfield to work with my staff. So I do feel like it is still so important to get that camaraderie and to build those relationships within your staff. So to be able to be hybrid, I think is a great alternative after COVID. And I really feel like a lot of the companies are going in that direction.
You recently completed Leadership Rhode Island. Congratulations. And I've heard great things about the program overall, but maybe you could share some of your key learnings.
Yeah, you know what? I learned so much about myself through that program. It was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life. I had the most growth in my personal and professional career in 2022, thanks to Leadership Rhode Island and all the connections that I made. We were a class of 74. One of the takeaways that I will tell you about is I got to spend some time with a police officer for an evening, and that was very eye-opening in Olneyville, which I'm sure you're familiar with Olneyville. There was actually a huge accident on the other side of the highway that I was very grateful that I was on my side, because I would have never been able to get home that evening. All the roads were shut down, but it was such a incredible experience just to be out and have your eyes wide open and see what really is going on in the city of Providence. But I loved, getting to know people. We spent so much time together. Leadership Rhode Island is a 10-month long program, as you know, and you're out of your job for at least one day a month. Many months were 2. Probably my favorite was being in Newport for an overnight with all 74 of us. And we really got to know each other. I learned who loved to walk. I learned who loved to, have a beverage after work. And it was really fun. So it's a great program. I highly recommend it. Great way to get connected. And if you had ever told me that I would be a public speaker and be their class speaker at the end of it, I would have told you that you were crazy. And that's exactly what happened.
Do you have to be nominated for that?
Yes, the class nominated me, which was really, honestly, it was amazing.
And do you have to be nominated to participate in the program?
Yes. So somebody nominates you, then you go through a huge application. In the end, you had interview process, as well as I wrote an essay. It was honestly, it was 10 months that I will always, always treasure and cherish in my learnings.
That's great. That's great to hear. So let's talk about the Heart of Rhode Island networking group. I know that you just celebrated your first year anniversary in March, and you've expanded to Massachusetts, which just started this summer. So why did you start the group, and tell us more about how to get involved?
Yeah, I love that. So when I was at the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce, I was in charge of all of their events and their ribbon cuttings. And when I left there, they were kind of, all of my connections were like, Deb, would you ever consider still holding a networking group once a month? They're like, you're the master at networking. You're so good. You have it down to the science. So when I went to Insperity, my colleague Natalie and I had said to her, why don't we invite some people into the office and just see how it goes? So our first pilot was in February of 2022 at the Insperity office. I ended up with 12 people at that initial meeting. It went very well, super fun, very casual. And from there, I went back to Kim Anderson, who I have a very good relationship with at Plant City. And I said, Kim, I would love to bring, a networking event back to life. Would love to call it Heart of Rhode Island. And Mark DuPont and his wife both did our logo. It's been growing ever since. So in the 1 year from March of 2022 till March of 2023, the event grew from 12 attendees to 100. So we sell it out every month at 100. So this month already, we have 51 registered. So there's 49 spots left, but usually people start cramming it in the last 2 weeks. It's really fun, very informal. We do, during the fall months and winter months, we do like a speed networking style upstairs at Plant City. And for the summer months, it's more casual, and they're so good to us. They let us hold it outside because the weather's so beautiful. So it's once a month. This month, it happens to be on July 19th. It will be from 8:30 to 9:30. We always tell people to please be out by 10 to give Plant City enough time to get ready for their lunch arrivals. And it's really fun. I love watching the connections. I love seeing the friendships being built before my very eyes and knowing that I had a hand in doing that. It's been so fun.
It's amazing. And now it's in Massachusetts.
So we're trying to pilot it. We did a pilot in June here in Massachusetts at La Cantina Winery in Franklin, Mass, because pretty central. So people from the North Shore came down, people from the South Shore came up, and we actually had a lot from Rhode Island that came. We sold that one out at 120 attendees, and Bob, the owner at La Cantina Winery, and his wife Anna told me that they would let us go up to 150. So we're looking for a co-sponsor, and we would love to hold another one in the month of August. That's our hope.
That's amazing. It's really amazing. And especially after coming out of the pandemic where everyone was sort of isolated and not able to connect in person, and to go from that to where you are now is truly amazing. So congratulations.
Thanks so much. I want to add one thing. So we try to keep it so that it's free for all the attendees. So we get a different sponsor every month. And what that sponsor gets is my shout out for 4 weeks on LinkedIn leading up to the event. And they are the only person that gets the platform at the event to talk about their company, what they do. They have about 5 minutes for a highlight for just their company. So this month we have the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Rhode Island with Tina Santos is our sponsor. So July 19th, we will get to hear more about what they're doing over there. Good work.
That's awesome. So you are basically modeling the roadmap that Tom Rath put together in his 5 essential elements of well-being. I don't know if you read that book, but it's awesome. He talks about career, financial, social, physical, and community well-being. So let's wrap it up with community, because I know that you're so active in the community with being a Cantor, the Jimmy Fund Walk team captain, and Amenity Aid mission. So maybe you could talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, so I'll start with the Cantor. I've been singing at Most Precious Blood Parish for over 20 years, as you mentioned earlier. I went to music school. There's my hidden fun fact. I actually auditioned for the X Factor. Not many people know about that as well. And I sing the anthem oftentimes for the PB Bruins. So you can find me there sometimes. I have a great relationship with Anthony Pontrelli over there. But so I went to music school. I decided to keep my music fresh by getting into a Catholic church. Most Precious Blood has welcomed me. I'm part of their community. I sing all of their masses. So I have Saturday, 5:30 p.m. and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. in Dover, Massachusetts. So that's been really fun. The Jimmy Fund Walk, this will be my 6th year walking the walk. I started with Susan G. Komen for 1 year. I walked Avon 39 for 5 years. I actually coached for Avon 39 in both Boston and Chicago. In my 4th year, they came to me. They're like, Deb, would love to interview you. I'm like, great. How many of my team would you like? Do you want us in our jerseys? And they're like, no, Deb, we'd like to interview you to hire you. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know the first thing about fundraising. They're like, well, your team raised $197,000.
Oh my goodness.
And we asked them how they did it, and they all said it was because of you. So lo and behold, I worked for Avon 39 until they folded. And then I went to the Jimmy Fund Walk because it was all inclusive with all cancers. And I loved walking for breast cancer because I had so many friends that had it, but I actually lost my mother to colon cancer. So walking for the Jimmy Fund Walk, I feel like our team is made up of so many amazing people in the community. Our Jimmy Fund hero just passed away at 16 years old of brain cancer. That's been really tragic here in Franklin. But walking and making a difference, my team's already raised, I think, close to $40,000 this year, and we haven't even hit our big fundraiser yet, which is coming up in August. If anybody likes to pub crawl, would love to have you join us on August 26th here in Franklin. But yeah, so that's really fun. And then ending with Amenity Aid, I met Liz Dugan at Leadership Rhode Island. She became one of my first best friends in the program. And at the end of Leadership Rhode Island, she said, Deb, would you be interested in joining my board? And I'm like, oh, I'd love to look at it. You know, what would the responsibilities look like? And I just love everything about her mission. She's out in the community, helping women that cannot afford to buy their essential products, such as tampons, pads, and She has such a good relationship with so many people in Rhode Island. She gets soaps from Bradford Soaps donated, and she's out delivering to all these people that are really in need. And there is such a need for it that it's just such a great, we just had a fundraiser that we knocked it out of the park with our fundraiser, raising money for Amenity Aid this year. So we're really proud, and I love serving on that board.
So inspiring. I would love to include, how to connect with all of these amazing, organizations that you're part of. So we can do that in some of the upfront language on social when we air this episode for sure. And I have a final question. Your energy and your smile are contagious. How do you stay motivated, and where is your happy?
My happy is walking. I have a walking group that I hang out with every morning. Honestly, they're the bread and butter of my day. They start my day on such a great note. It's like having therapy every morning with 6 of your best friends. So that just starts the whole day and sets the tone for everything. And I really feel like all of my experiences in life have brought me to BANKW staffing. And I really, Karen, I feel like I found my unbelievable happy. Like if you thought I was happy before, it's this whole new level of happiness. I can't even describe it. Every morning I wake up and I'm so excited to get to my laptop and see what the day is going to bring. So it's been really fun. And my children, I have to say, being on the baseball field, the rugby field, the dance competition, they bring so much happiness. My daughter, my oldest, just graduated from Ithaca College, and she's heading to France for a 7-month program. I know.
Nice.
So yeah, so the kids have really, that's where I get all of my happy from, mostly, besides all the other things.
Your face just lights up when you talk about them too.
They're great. They're awesome.
Thank you so much for participating today. I am just in awe of everything that you're doing, and I'm glad that you were able to talk about this, and we'll include some links for people to connect. And for all of those listening, thank you, and we hope to see you soon. Be well. Thanks, Deb.
So much. Thanks, Karen. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Hush Providence, a well-being podcast. This would not be possible without the incredible help from Jamie Farinella and Stephanie Whitehead on branding and logo concept, John Papa's endless generosity, David Davignon and Austin Lynch for their skilled technical expertise, and of course, our amazing guests and all of you, our listeners. Until next time, be well.